This is Sheila with Successful Women Talk. I want to say thanks for joining me today. Today we have a special guest, Carol Trickett from Trickett Glass. Now this is a really interesting interview with Carol today. She was actually downsized from a corporate job, and when that happened, she really wasn't overly terrified or sad about that because she already had a plan in place. And what she was doing was she was going to take her hobby and turn it into a business. So we discussed the concept of how she took that hobby, how she learned it, took that hobby and actually converted that into a business. We talk about how she is taking that individual type custom business, moving it online, teaching some courses and some classes. And the fun thing is that she knows that you can too, and she is offering her free ebook to you all, and we'll provide a link for that. So check out my interview today with Carol, and don't forget to go over to our website, www.successfulwomentalk.com, sign up for the email list, join the community, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the other side of the interview. Hi everyone, this is Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk, and I am excited to be here with you today. And we have special guest Carol Trickett of Trickett Glass. Now she designs and creates stained glass windows for homes, businesses, and churches. She's the founder and CEO of Trickett Glass, and we are going to learn her story, how she started her business, and a little bit more about her story. So help me welcome Carol.
Thanks, Sheila. It's a pleasure to be on the show today. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to our chat.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I learned about you, I think, just from connecting on Facebook. Twitter. Maybe we have some connections and the similar connections. But I went to your website and found your business kind of interesting and how you got started in your business. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and actually how you did get started in business?
Sure. Well, I came from a corporate world. I worked for Bell Canada for many years, 15 years, and was downsized. The office closed. And, for many people in the office that day, it was sad news. I tried to sympathize with them, but I was pretty happy that I was going to have the opportunity to follow my dreams and start my own business. So that was really exciting. Neither my husband and I were really ready to maybe jump in full-time. So what I did was I took a part-time job as secretary and started my business part-time. So kind of worked the two until I was comfortable. 3 years later, I launched full-time into my stained glass business.
I love that story. It's funny because I've had several different entrepreneurs on, and they've kind of had the same story. They probably wouldn't have quit their job, but they were sort of propelled into entrepreneurship, and they were kind of happy about it. It happened to them, and they didn't have to make that choice of quitting. It just sort of happened to them. Sounds like that's what happened to you as well, so that's great.
Yeah. It's hard to give up that pension and benefits and stuff, until you're really arm twisted to do so.
It makes it tough. So let's back up just a little bit. You were excited about starting this business, but from what I've read about you, it's basically you started out with a hobby of learning to do stained glass, and that's what you ended up taking into developing into a business. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, I really didn't know much about stained glass. Two of my brothers on the East Coast actually dabbled in it a bit, but I was in Ontario and Central Canada, and I really didn't have any contact with them while they were doing it. But a friend of mine, Bonnie, said to me just after I was married, there's this course in stained glass, why don't we take it? And I thought, that'd be cool, just make a project and see how it goes. And we did that, and I don't think Bonnie has made anything since, and I just couldn't stop. I set up a little shop in my basement and started making gifts for my family and friends. And it gets addictive. It started as a hobby, and how it really turned into a business is, once you run out of family and friends to make things for, you've either got to pack it up or start selling it. So I thought, hey, this is fun. Let's do it.
Well, what gave you the courage to do that? Because some people, I have a friend that's an artist, and they have her work all over their home. And the other day we were talking, she goes, "I don't know what I'm going to do because I can't put any more in my house." And same thing for her, but she's a little fearful of starting a business. So, what gave you that courage to go? Okay, I'm going to go from hobby to business. I can do this.
Well, I guess there were a couple of things. First of all, when I worked for Bell, I learned many great skills there, but it became a job that I really didn't enjoy anymore. And there were days where I would just dread walking into that office. And from the parking lot to the office, I did some talking to myself, to put one foot in front of the other. And so I really was getting tired of working for the boss. And I'm a mover and a shaker. I can make things happen on my own, and I really wanted to do that. And, the success that I had making things and selling things just as a hobby encouraged me to do that, because when I worked at Bell, there was a period of time I worked the night shift, and I was a 411 operator. People would call for directory assistance. And, between 2 and 5, it's pretty slow at night. So between you and me and the audience, I would, be sketching out patterns and stuff in between calls. And I'd bring in something to the office, and someone would say, "Oh, I like that. Can I have one?" And, it snowballed. So just from the response that I saw in the office and among my friends, I was pretty confident that it was something that I could do and make a profit from.
That's terrific. Well, let me ask you this. So you had some experience in the corporate world, but what type of true starting a business experience did you have? How did you go out and create a business plan? How did you get funding? Did all of those things did you create a corporation, an S corp or an LLC? How did you know those things, and what did you do?
Yeah. Well, I was a greenhorn. I really didn't know what to do. So actually, I took a 2-day course at our small business center locally and learned some of the basics on how to get started. And, you can wait till perfection, or you can just jump right in. And that's where I started, really. I knew I had to register my business name and get a tax number. So I did that. And here goes the train. I don't know if you can hear it or not.
I love it. It's great.
So, I already had the equipment that I needed, doing it as a hobby, and some supplies to get started. So there really wasn't a lot other than a tax number and registering the name and just diving in.
Just go. I love that you said you could wait to perfection, but you didn't. Doesn't mean that your product's not great, but sometimes I find that small business owners or people that are thinking about starting a business, they analyze things so much that they analyze to the point that they never jumpstart. They never just get started.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm not afraid of sticking my toe in the water and going for it.
I love that. Now, what about, did you get any business coaching? Did you get an attorney, any of those types of things? I mean, I have people ask all the time, well, how do I know how to register a name or to do all of those things? Did you just go and, make it up as you went along, fake it till you make it, or did you have some outside consulting?
Well, I did do some online research. I guess another thing I did there in preparation was I did a survey that I sent out to current stained glass business owners and got some input from them. But as far as, the legal stuff, it's kind of scary. I guess being a business owner, that's the part that, scares me the most is, what if I do something wrong? Or, what if someone comes after me for something I didn't know about? But, I'm kind of getting over that.
I find it fascinating that you said that you did a survey to other stained glass business owners. Because some people would go, okay, they're my competitors, so they're not going to give me any information, or I don't want them to know about me in case I do start something. So what made you decide to do a survey? That's terrific.
Yeah, you know what? In the stained glass industry, I have typically found when I was starting that people in the stained glass business are very guarded of their information, very tight-lipped. And I'm glad to say that that has changed a lot. People are more willing to share and are open, and that's the kind of person I am. You know, if I know it, I'm going to tell it to you. I certainly love to teach and share what I know with others. But yeah, in getting started, it's really just good to be open, and the survey was great because I got some interesting answers for sure. I had a couple guided questions and, you know, typical responses that I was looking for, but then there was some more open-ended questions, and you know, I asked, you know, if you could give me one piece of information, what would it be? And one of the responses I got back was, if you can do anything else, do it. So, you know, I think they were saying it's not going to be easy to make money at this medieval art.
Exactly.
But, and it hasn't been. It's, you know, it is you really have to think differently than stained glass business owners of the past. But I think the survey was helpful.
I think that's great. And I think it's great that you went ahead and did it anyways. And maybe that's because it was your passion. And you knew that, you know, a lot of times we hear that if you know what your passion is, that eventually you can make money with that passion if you work hard enough at it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. You can find a way eventually, but sometimes you have to give up things that are near and dear to your heart.
So let's talk about that. How do you take a hobby of building a few things? And I'm assuming, based on what we've talked about, that it's basically just you developing the product, correct?
It is just me at this point. Yeah, I have a much bigger vision, but at this point it's a one-woman show, and I do wear many hats. But yeah, to make a company profitable, you've really got to, first of all, your mindset. You know, you really have to overcome this idea that, you know, there's a phrase that people say, you can never get out of it what you put into it. You know, you go to craft shows or art shows, and you hear people say, oh, this is really a labor of love. And, you know, they expect that you're not feeding your family with it. And many times that is the case, you know, because this is a mindset that you have to get over. If it's going to be a profitable business, you have to charge for your time, for your material, for some overhead, and build in some profits. So, you know, sun catchers may not always be the most profitable item in your store. You might want to look at, like I am, larger panels. I love to do custom work. Not everybody can, you know, adapt patterns or design their own, so that's a little unique. And I also do various techniques, so not just the copper foil method of stained glass where you wrap each piece in foil and solder it, but I do the traditional methods too, like leading, which was used in the church windows and still is, and traditional painting where you paint fine detail on and then fire it in a kiln and incorporate that into the panel. So, you know, to be profitable, mindset is important. The other thing for me was bringing my offline business online, and that in itself is a whole story. You know, there's lots of mom and pop shops where they do stained glass, and I also do fused glass, which is melting glass in the kiln and shaping it into, you know, bowls or candle holders or whatever. But, you know, most stained glass stores do a variety of things with glass, but, you know, jumping online and selling it that way, and not just through a website, but, excuse me, actually building a community of people that you can work with online has been wonderful for me.
That's terrific. Let me ask you this. So, okay, so I had a wholesale furniture and decor business that I sold a couple of years ago, and we intentionally went wholesale from the beginning, knew that we wanted to do larger volume, and less price, larger volume, but it's still a higher end market. But so we took that business from zero customers and sales within just a few years to a multi-million-dollar business. So we were able to do that because of large scale, and we outsourced a lot of product. So scalability was easy there. How does someone like yourself, because I have a lot of people out there that watch the show that are maybe just solo entrepreneurs, or maybe they have a great gift and hobby like you do, how do you make that scalable enough if it's just you to support your family and grow that? Because I want to get into what you said. You have a vision of what you want Trickett Glass to be. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that? How do you make it scalable?
Let me tell you what my vision is. My vision is to grow a company that I can step away from, that I don't have to be here in the office, in the studio to run. So how I'm going to do that? Well, there's a few steps involved. It might take me longer than planned, but that's okay. One thing that I have done in moving my business online, I realized that when I make a panel in my studio for a customer, I have to first get the customer, then I get the order and make it for them, and then I have to find a new customer and make a new panel. And it's a process that happens over and over. But by moving online, I realized that I can teach a class, video record it, and package it, sell it online. People can watch it as many times as they want. I can include notes with it. But I only have to make that product once, and I can sell it 100 times, 1,000 times, whatever. Same thing with coaching, which really next year I'm hoping to do a lot more. I love to teach, and I love to tell other people what I know. So, I'm really hoping to build a business that way as well, making a product once and selling it many times.
I love that. And even with your current customer base, I don't know what, the multitude of products that you have or SKUs that you have, I think some of them are somewhat individual from what I understand. So, we also found that once you had a customer, if you could stretch that customer out for a longer period of time, sell them more products. So do you plan on introducing, there are a lot of things I think that you could probably do with this stained glass. So are there other products other than teaching products, we'll talk about those in a minute, but actual physical products, are you going to expand your lines?
Yeah, I'm always open to that. I do a bit of wholesale. I do have a lot of repeat customers. I have people who, here's an example. I just got an order from a lady from a referral. I made a memorial window for a lady I knew, and her husband had passed away, so I made a dove that represented her husband, and then ran ribbons through the panel and, signifying the family and the togetherness. And that lady, a few years after I made the panel for her, I got a call from this other lady who was referred by her. I'm making a cardinal panel for her, which is very symbolic. A lot of what I do is help people share their stories in stained glass. So whatever they're celebrating or remembering or, wanting to symbolize, that's often what I do for them. So this lady now that I'm making the cardinal panel for, she's in the studio and she sees some of the jewelry that I'm making and, Christmas ornaments at this time of year, if you can believe it, for wholesale customers. And she says, "Do you teach classes?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I love to teach." And she said, "Well, I'd love to bring some of my friends out." So now we have booked a class with her and 4 of her friends. So that's great. I will advertise a class and fill it up, but when people come to me with a ready-made class, that's awesome.
Exactly. And I love, and we'll talk a little bit about this in just a second, I love, though, that you're teaching. And I think you could, like you said, that's very scalable, especially taking your offline business online and then teaching those types of courses. There is a company out there, I'm not going to mention their name, but I follow them, and they're a fabulous brand they have a blog, and they do a lot of very distressed type finishes, and they teach some individual classes in their town, and I I always want to call, touch base with them and go, you should take this online because they could so sell those classes. So,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what you've done too. So let's talk about your online courses a bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have one course now in beginner stained glass that is up and available. And that was my first one. I just recently did it. And then this month I have put together a beginner stained glass pattern book to kind of go along with that. So in the next few days it will be available as well. Simple Animal Patterns, it's called. And then this month I'm going to be putting together my fusing class, the beginner fusing class in video format online. So the way I've designed it is so that once a person signs up, they get a password and they log into an account, and there's modules. So they can watch module 1, they can print out a PDF file to review it. They can add comments and interact with other students in the comments section, with myself as well if they have questions or comments. And they can review it as often as they like. They have access to it ongoing. So they can, maybe watch the course through once and then do it as they're watching. Yeah.
So what type of software, is this linked up to your website? What type of software did you use to do this type of class? And I guess the back-end membership side of it as well.
Yeah. Well, I did the videos just with my video camera.
There you go.
Happen to have it here. It's a Canon. But you can use webcam, whatever you've got. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. And then I uploaded those to YouTube and privately. And then I have Aweber, which is my list building tool. That's where I gather names from my community. So when someone signs up there, they go to Optimize Press, is the platform that helps me to build the actual online program.
Got it. Now, is your website built on WordPress?
Actually, currently my website is through a plug-and-play type thing. It's CityMax. I set it up myself 5-6 years ago, and it really is needing some updates. I have plans that when I reach a certain plateau financially, then I'm going to hire a webmaster and have it set up to, with my company, I have different target markets. I have the hobbyist, I have a residential customer who orders for their home, and I have churches. So I'm going to set up my site focused on those 3 areas. It'll be like 3 sites in one.
No, I love that. So what has been the most challenging thing for you, going from the corporate world to owning your own business? What has been the most challenging?
Well, I guess for me personally, the one most challenging thing is in my personal life. I am not only an artist, but a caregiver. And the timing was amazing. I gave up my secretarial job just months before my husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And it's been 4 years now since his diagnosis. So it really, I think, was providential that it happened when it did, that I could actually be home working and be available for him as well. So, just balancing business life and home life has been a challenge, but a blessing, because it's kind of a catch-22, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tough. And it's different because usually you're talking to people that are either have kids at home, so they're stay-at-home moms that are actually starting something. But this is a whole different dimension for you. So, you're busy. You've got that. You're developing courses. You're teaching courses. You're creating your own products. So you stay pretty busy. What's the most
Oh, yeah.
rewarding thing about being your own boss and having your own business?
Well, it really is having the lifestyle that you want, the freedom to, come and go as you want, to set up your business as you want, to answer to who you want. Just because I do all these things myself doesn't mean I don't have a team. And that really is very rewarding to be able to work with people like yourself in an interview, network on my days that I have respite care come in. There are other things I do too, but every second week I have a networking team I meet up with. And, I do have a bookkeeper. That is the one person that I employ right now. I have a coach. Actually, sorry, that's the second person. But it's neat to be able to build a team and work with who you want, to work your own schedule, to just be your own boss.
Absolutely. If you were going to give someone some advice, let's say there's someone out there maybe in your shoes or Carol a few years ago, what kind of advice would you give to that person about starting a business and just going out on their own? What type of advice would you give them?
Well, I have a lot of advice to give them, but I'll try to keep it to just a few pointers. First of all, I would say educate yourself, both in your area of expertise and in business. A couple of years ago, I started reading. I hadn't read much in my life before then, just to get myself through assignments in school, but I started reading and I haven't stopped. I've got like 2 or 3 books on the go now, and I've learned so much through reading. And that would be one, educate yourself. Secondly, I would say right from the start online. Don't just keep your hobby in a closet. Share it with other people, and grow your business online as you learn. Another thing that goes along with that, I would say right away, build a community online. And many of the listeners may have heard of this method, the funnel method of, you can offer something to your customers, to your audience, that will be of benefit to them. And to get that, they input their name and address, and they'll receive maybe a free ebook, perhaps a series of documents or lessons or whatever it is that you have a value that you can give them in exchange for their information, and realizing that you will communicate with them on a regular basis. And that way you can send out a monthly newsletter or information that will be helpful to your audience, to your community, and you can benefit from that, they can benefit from that, and you can start your sales process through that as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, if someone wanted to connect with you online, and I totally agree, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think that community is huge. I hear that from every entrepreneur. Building a list and building it early. I've talked to some people that didn't start building it until later, and just networking. And I didn't mention this earlier. I think we touched on a little bit, but you've also, since you've gone online, you're creating a lot of video. And so how is video working for you? And I mean, how did you get over the fear of actually being on camera and just putting it out there?
I didn't. I'm still fearful. Getting ready for today, I just making sure I have all my T's crossed, my I's dotted. But I think if there's not a little bit of fear in your heart, something's wrong.
Sure.
I'm hoping that's the case. But I realize that our world is very visual, and I am doing some teleseminars as well, some teleclasses that are only audio, but I think with what I do, to be able to demonstrate and talk to people face to face is really important. You build a connection faster that way, and you can teach much clearer that way. So Yeah, to get over the fear of it, you don't. You just go for it, and hopefully it gets less painful the more you do it.
That's
But
true.
yeah, I find a big smile covers a lot of that.
That's
So,
right. And don't
uh,
be afraid to mess up. Don't be it doesn't have to be perfect. The same thing that you said early on with just starting your business. It doesn't have to be perfect. All the people
yeah,
that are out there today just making millions and you know who they are, they weren't perfect when they started either. So, we all have to start somewhere.
definitely. Yeah, be casual. I am,
I
and yeah, just be who you are, and
absolutely.
people love you better that way.
I totally agree. So,
Yeah.
I think I stopped you. Where do you want people to hook up with you at? On your website, Twitter?
Yeah, I can give you my website address. It's www.trickettglass. That's Trickett glass.ca for Canada.
Perfect. And we'll link that
So
up
yeah,
as
go to
well.
the website. Yeah, that would be great.
Now, listen, I know you're working on a couple of things. Do you have anything you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, actually, I would like to offer the audience a free ebook. I think it would be helpful for those who want to turn their passion into profit. I've written an ebook called Stained Glass from Hobby to Business. And it's not only beneficial for stained glass artists, but artists of any type. People who just love what they do and want to make money from it. So I'll give you the link for that. And what maybe Sheila, what I can do is send it to you, and you can put it in the blurb under the video if you'd like.
Absolutely. That'd be terrific.
So the address is stainedglasscoach.com, and stained glass is STAINED,
Okay.
glass coach, COACH.com /hobbyist.
Okay. We'll
Okay,
link
that's
that up. That's a big. We'll
okay.
link that up as well.
Yep.
I
That'd,
appreciate you doing that, and I think the nice thing is that like you said, it can be used not only if you're in stained glass, but in any business. And I think that's the one thing that I've learned since I've gone online over the last couple of years is that there are a lot of things that maybe you don't do directly, but you can learn so many things from different people's stories, even outside of your industry, that can be applicable to your business at any point in time.
oh, that is so true. I have been following many people online doing lots of research, and I've learned so much from people in all industries. And you're right. Just the key, though, is to not just listen and follow all this stuff because your head spins, but to take one course and apply it. Take the nuggets that you gain from that, put them to work, and then move on to something else.
Absolutely. That's where people, I think, we sometimes don't do it. We sometimes don't apply those things like we should.
True.
Carol, this has been terrific. I appreciate your time. I love your story. I love your passion, and I can't wait to see the vision come true for you. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you, Sheila. It was my pleasure to be with you today.
Thanks, and have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Okay, that's our show, and thanks again for tuning in. Hey, I have a huge favor. I'd like for you to join us over at www.successfulwomentalk.com. Join our email list, and on that list, you'll be a VIP. You'll be receiving all of our newest updates, newest interviews, our newsletter, and any tips and tricks we have for organizing your business and getting raving fans and customers that actually just sing your praises. So again, thanks again for tuning in. Check us out next week for another episode of SuccessfulWomenTalk.com. Thanks, guys.